been a lot of confusion around the issue surrounding UK pension transfers, the tax on the transfers. The most common misnomer is that once you miss your 6 months tax-free period that the whole amount is then taxable. That's not true. It's only ever the growth from your date of Australian residency through to the date of the transfer that's assessable. More importantly, that is not a personal tax. It's a concessional 15% super fund tax rate if you elect to do so. The good news is that recently there's been a change to the methodology behind calculating the assessable growth on transfers, and that is the exchange rate at the time you became an Australian resident can now be applied to that historic value. And obviously with the strong Australian dollar over the last few years, pretty much anybody who's been here for the last 15 or 20 years is going to benefit from the new calculation. A couple of cases, clients where they've benefited hugely by the new methodology, the change, that come to mind is one gentleman who transferred a significant amount of money in March of this year, March 2013, when the exchange rate was about $1.50, and he'd been here since September 1998, so his initial reaction was the tax will cripple him. But in actual fact, when we applied the exchange rate going back to September 1998, it pretty much offset the tax completely. So in effect, the fund had doubled, but the exchange rate had halved. So it basically came out as no tax. Another client who recently transferred had been here since August 1995, and thinking that over that period of time, the 105,000 odd pounds of growth in her fund, that the tax would be quite significant. Again, applying the exchange rate back in 1995 to that value, her tax rate was effectively halved, and it wasn't as big an issue as what she thought. I know it sounds counterintuitive, encouraging people to transfer in today's environment with the exchange rate. However, the advantage is that we've now got the ability to transfer, retain and invest in sterling portfolios. It's a win-win situation. We can crystallise the tax position at a very opportune time without actually having to execute at a poor exchange rate. The benefit for those cases that I just referred to, and indeed 95% of people who've been here for some period of time, won't always be the case. Conversely, if somebody was arriving in Australia over the past few years whilst the Australian dollar is at record high levels and defer the decision to transfer for a period of time and the Australian dollar weakens against the sterling, it'll have the opposite effect. And I did a quick case study yesterday with a client with the ease of numbers, £100,000 arrived earlier this year at $1.50 exchange rate. If he deferred the transfer decision for 5 years, the £100,000 grew to £150,000, therefore £50,000 of assessable growth, and the exchange rate also weakened from $1.50 to $2, then there'd actually be $150,000 worth of assessable growth. So there is a moment in time where it is a real benefit to be taking some action.